We're going to go ahead and get this meeting called to order. Roll call vote real quick. I am here. Ms. Shippert?
Yes.
Mr. Kitson? Mr. Wilson? Ms. Allen?
Here.
Mr. Bally? And Mr. Humphrey is sitting in, so we have a quorum.
Here.
Can I have a approval of the minutes from the previous month?
I have a question on the minutes. It said we adjourned at 9:22. That's about twice the length of the actual meeting.
Was it 8 o'clock meeting or 9
It
o'clock?
was a 9 o'clock meeting, but I mean, it was 10 or 11 minutes.
Oh, really?
Okay, sorry about that.
I mean,
Did we start late?
well, maybe that was the,
Okay, because I had gone off the YouTube time to try to, because I didn't write it down at
okay.
the last meeting.
Maybe we started late, but the minute,
Okay.
it was only like a 10 or 11 minute meeting.
It was very short, yeah.
So I just looked at the 9:22, but maybe it says we started late this time.
Okay.
And it's not a big deal either.
So other than that correction, the minutes can stand as read.
Yes.
Visitors, does anybody have anything or just want to get right to the agenda? We'll go ahead and jump right in. Okay. We're gonna skip around. We're gonna start with the MOU for the city of Amboy. It's item number 2 on our old business. And Dee or Alice, would you like to give us an update on the MOU for the city of Dixon?
Yes, last month at the county board,
For Amboy, excuse me.
the county board gave the chairman the authority to sign the MOU once it is ready. Charlie is working with the city of Amboy's attorney. It looks like they have everything worked out except maybe one issue. So we're hoping to get that wrapped up here soon.
Any questions in regards to that? So that's just really for information. Really the meat and potatoes of this meeting is going to be the survey questions that are in front of you. I believe there's about 7, 8 questions in here that were developed by Chastain and Associates. This is in regards to the pipeline, but I think this will be a great opportunity for us to also do when it comes to solar and wind as well. And I believe, Alice, you've been in communication with them about putting out a survey specifically for solar and wind, because we have the opinion of 24 board members, or on this committee, 6 or 7, but to really be able to dive in and get some information from other board members or from other county residents would be fantastic. So if you guys want to read through it, there's a couple copies up here if anybody wants to look at one. Alice has got some more too, so.
A Zoomer that has a question.
Okay, what's it say? Oh, question. Yes. Absolutely, you can type your questions there, Mary. Monitor that for me. Thank you. Is this on board book?
I had asked Becky to add it, but she said
Go
she
ahead.
couldn't add it, and
Danielle?
That's what I was going to ask. I don't see the questions in board book.
okay, I will forward them to you.
Thank you.
Resources. Marilyn, I see you marking up over there.
Yeah, is that what I'm supposed to be doing?
Absolutely. That's the the teacher in you. You got some, as you go through, you have some stuff that you want to change or address, or that's really what the purpose is.
Well, where do you live in the county? You know, obviously I checked rural, or Dixon, then I said rural, but not in the city limits.
Right.
I think that needs to be distinguished.
Yeah, where do you live in the county? And then another question is, are you within city limits or outside of city
Yeah.
limits? I think would be a very fair question to add on there.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
No, you give me a survey and I'm gonna be running right through it.
Right. I'm good with that. Yeah, I can't find it on board books, so. I really like how it's laid out for those people in the back who are looking at it. I think it opens it up, but even as we develop it further for solar and wind, I think getting public opinion in this form and fashion, our biggest challenge is going to be how do we disperse it to the community? I think that's probably a problem for myself and Alice and Dee to figure out, but I believe whether it be the website, whether it be local radio, television, Facebook, any of those to direct them to where the survey is going to be at is going to be beneficial. So
So about that, I would like to get an ad into the paper by this weekend. Just a little blurb to tell people to look for it. We plan to roll out the survey Monday to the public. We'd like to have a link on our website. I'd also like to talk to the newspaper about getting it on their social media. We're gonna put hard copies out in the community. In Dixon, we plan on the public library and the senior center. And then we're gonna have to look for other places in the other towns within the county.
I think if anybody's got any contacts with any mayors or township supervisors within the rest of Lee County, that might be an ask that I'm going to ask from the whole board here in 2 weeks to reach out to your local representatives and whether it be hard copies or the email. Miss Allen?
Yeah, so do we know how the survey will be? Will people can take it multiple times? Will it know, that somebody, I'm currently going through the survey process with another, in another area, and that was part of the problem is in order to do it anonymous, somebody could take the survey 20 times, which, maybe we're okay with. I'm just curious.
That's the reality of what it is. I just did a survey here yesterday for a high school kid trying to.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. I voted 3 times because
Right.
I wanted him to win. Somebody can vote 3 times because they hate solar or pipeline or
Right.
wind. And so I think it's just taking all that information, still with a grain of salt, but it at least gives us the opportunity to have public opinion for this.
I just didn't know if the survey company had any, can tell, that this came from the same IP address or if they had any way of knowing.
They mentioned using SurveyMonkey, so I'm not sure how that
Okay.
works.
Okay. I don't think
further-
it does.
Okay. As far as the timeline, once we roll this out to the public, we'll leave it out for 2 weeks. That would put us at about April 25th. Then we'll close the survey. Chastain and Associates will compile the results into a report and have it ready for us at the next renewable energy meeting, which would be probably the first Thursday in May is the schedule we've kind of been on. So
First Thursday of May works probably for everybody.
from there, their question is, do you want to do a working meeting or do you want them to prepare a draft for your review?
Draft for our review.
Okay,
I think
On
we've
this
done
topic-
enough research on it. I know you and I, Alice, have talked. We had 4 documents that we started with, and we know where it needs to go. It's just getting it into that document legal form. And then same thing even with the wind and solar, because I'm looking at it that if we can have this started, if we can launch the wind and solar questions in May,
Yep. And
we know the things, we've already discussed it as a committee of what 5, 6, 7 things in each of those topics that we want to discuss. Let them get it in there. And then at that point, they can present to the changes to what the ordinance has been. Would you agree?
yes, and they are going to work on getting the other surveys going so that when we get to that point, we already have the results and we can jump right in.
Perfect. Anything else? If anybody, Marilyn or any of the additional guests out here see questions that they see a problem with, definitely get with Alice after the meeting, and we can get some of that stuff corrected of what we want Chastain and Associates to ask our constituents of Lee County.
My only concern is, as noted, that, distinguish between city.
Yeah, and I think
with a city address.
I think that can just be question number 2. Do you live, where do you live? Is it are you within city limits or with outside of city limits? Something.
Somehow that needs to be worked in there.
Yep. Any questions on this? Everybody's good? Moving on. So battery energy storage ordinance, we have a temporary, Anel gave us a ordinance correct last month.
Couple months ago,
Couple
and that
months ago.
has gone to Chastain.
So they're currently looking at that, so that way we can move that through. And then the big thing is the wind and solar. And I think this committee took it upon themselves to try to do it themselves, to try to get through the 6-month moratorium as fast as we can, and realize that there is just a lot. We decided as a committee, as a board, to hire Chastain and Associates, and I think we need to let them do the process, but I believe we're going to end up having to extend this moratorium somewhere between 3 and 6 months. I think it's the reality, because by the time it comes back to here, we approve it on this committee, it then goes to planning, it then has to go back to the board to lay over for a month.
We're
And then-
never gonna get anything done in 6 months.
Yeah, and so I just want everybody to be realistic of this. I don't like it. I would love to get something done in 6 months, but even with the developers in the back of the room, I don't think that's gonna affect any of their projects, and to the point that I'm glad that they're here to be able to talk on that. Scott,
Hey, everybody, Scott Rimmer with Hexagon.
can you come up, because I know I do have some YouTubers that won't be able to hear you. You just, anyone
I
that's
think
with,
there's where,
oh, that's fine.
Working on the Stewart Creek Solar Project. The phase 1 has already, speaking to the mic, sorry. Phase 1 has already been permitted, and we're working towards hopefully building that pretty soon. That's regardless of the current moratorium and the current bylaw. But we have hopes of continuing to fill in some of the gaps with the project, which would depend on the permitting process of the county. That said, our timeline is still within probably a year plus. So we're very supportive of the county taking the time necessary to get the bylaw right, make sure everybody's protected the way that they want to be, so that then we can continue to work together. So very supportive of it. A 6-month extension. While on the one hand, we always like to do things as fast as we possibly can, we also realize the benefit of making sure things are done right. So we'll be here to provide comment as helpful, and we're supportive of taking that extra time as needed. So quick comment, if anybody has questions, happy to address them from our side.
On yours or Ben? So I think, once again, we can do it fast or we can do it right. We made the commitment, the financial commitment to hire Chastain and Associates. Let's do it right.
I agree.
And to the point, like, I think all the developers in the room and Christian, who was here at the last board meeting, Lee County is starting to separate themselves in regards to solar and wind energy in the state of Illinois. I think we're doing things right with the ordinances by continuing to look at these ordinances, by putting things in place that other counties are starting to look at us as an example. And that kind of makes me proud anyways of being part of this committee and part of this board. So
Lee County's been a leader in many ways in the past. You know, not just energy, but other county to be proud of.
One of the advantages of working with Chastain too is I think we'll have a better gauge of how much longer we'll need to extend the moratorium. So we'll be able to give a more definite number when that happens.
I think we need to push on and make sure that the questions get out here in May, so we can move straight from pipeline so that they can get their project up and running into storage systems and then into solar and wind to keep this moving. So
The next topic, which will be the next priority, solar?
I believe, I know the battery energy systems is probably pretty well baked with the work that Anel did. I think that should be pretty easy to move through, but I believe solar is probably, solar and wind, I think will go kind of hand in hand. And that's where we really need to move sooner than later. Rick?
Is there a reason why we couldn't combine the rest of the areas of renewable energy into the next survey? I know you got the pipeline one here separate, but like you just said, they all kind of go hand in hand, just combine here and just have one more survey done, and rather than go out 4 different times.
I love that idea, actually, that if we can do that.
Sorry.
Combine them all together in the next survey round, your solar, your wind, your battery storage. If you're gonna put another survey out, ask all the questions on all types of renewable energy, and maybe have some separate questions for each individual, line item or whatever, but just have one more survey.
I like Rick's idea, but I think we need to take it a step farther and get it in one survey, because people are going to say, I did a survey. Why am I going to do another?
You're gonna start losing her attention.
Correct.
So-
Yep. So this one's fine, but the next one needs to be combined for everything. And
I think put everything in here.
I know they're ready to post this on Monday. That's the problem.
Okay, if this is ready to go, but I don't want to overwhelm people with surveys.
Questions up there?
Yes. We own, for the Leeward Wind Plant agenda items, we own 112 acres, a quarter-mile long, north and south field, and 251 in the middle of the map.
This is actually pertaining to a hearing that will occur later tonight, the GSG Leeward repower.
Okay, yep. So if this is in regards to a hearing that's happening tonight, I don't believe we want to discuss it here. I'd love to be able to, but there is language in there to protect non-participating. That's part of what we're trying to do too, is continue to put teeth into these ordinances to protect non-participating residents. So I wish I could answer your question as far as the FFA.
Jonathan, could you please provide her my email? And she can email me her questions and I can respond to her after this meeting.
Mary, unfortunately, I can't respond to some of that directly, just due to the fact that we're currently in the hearing process here today. I'd love to. Okay, general question. Have the benefits, money, road repairs, et cetera, promised? Once again, it's all related to a specific project. So
It's all a zoning question, really.
hold on, I'm not done there. So
And
to
those
your
questions I can answer for
yeah, so
her.
those are questions I can answer. But that is also part of what the ordinance rewrite is looking at, is making it more stiffer. I know I've talked to several of the developers who are even in the room here today, who are even in favor of stronger, more stringent decommissioning plans. It helps the developers here in the room keep the, as we say, fly by night guys out of the county. And that's what we're trying to do. And I don't believe right now we have any fly by night renewable energy companies. It costs such a massive amount of money to actually build a project. But I do know there's some companies out there that are tying up ground. So that's all I'll say there. No, you're perfectly fine, Mary. We're more than welcome. I'll have Alice include my phone number and email address in her email. So that way, if you have questions for me specifically as the chair, I'm more than happy to help you in any way I can. Thank you. Scott, you guys, go ahead.
Nothing really to add to that, except that we do agree. From our perspective, the more explicit a bylaw can be, as long as it's something that we can work with, the more straightforward it is for us to be able to design our plans to conform with that bylaw, and then also to make sure that we're meeting what we know that the county and the county's residents want. So we have no interest in making people unhappy as we work through this, and as much as the bylaw can help us know what people are looking for, we're happy for that. And it also helps us to maintain kind of let's say a level of professionalism in development. There are various types of developers that are active, and we want to make sure that the ones who are working with Lee County are the ones that can deliver the projects to Lee County. So we're in support of a buffed up bylaw, if you will. Now that said, I don't want to say we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. And so we're happy to provide comment and say that is easy for us to work with. That's a very difficult sell for us back and forth throughout. But in general, we support the bylaw having more teeth. It makes it easier for us, actually.
And I think we've seen this before, and that's why Hexagon's here. That's why Anella's here. That and we've been able to listen to their concerns. We don't, if you're a developer and you've got a concern, but you're not in the room when we're developing this, then I don't hear it. But the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And not that you guys have been squeaky by any means, but working with developers, working with county residents, working with the county board, we can always come up with something better. And that's just what we're trying to do. So
Back to the priorities, just so you are aware, the zoning office does have a lot of contact from solar, community solar. So from our perspective, tackling solar might be the best next step.
yeah, and I think we can tackle solar if we want. I think we can prioritize solar, but as far as the questionnaire goes, I really agree with both Marilyn and Rick that put all of it together in one. We don't need to overwhelm people. And if we can get through solar and we can get through wind, and then we can get through battery backup. That's probably the order I see that we need to go. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
And if we have stuff to talk about, we can put multiple meetings on in a month. That's not a problem. So not a problem for me. Like this meeting's only going to last half an hour. So we typically plan 2 hours for these meetings. Anything else? Alice, Jonathan, any questions? Fantastic. Board members, John, good? With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will make that motion.
Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
See you at 9 o'clock.